Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last episode of the Mechanicrafters. I know, it feels like we just started, but surprisingly, we started this all the way back on, I believe, January 23rd. So that was almost 6 months ago. That's kind of crazy that it's been going for that long. Yeah, this is gonna be the last episode of the Mechanicrafters, at least for my channel. I'm not sure if others are gonna continue. I know a couple of us are going to be leaving kind of all together, and I figured I'd start out by just explaining on why I've decided to kind of leave Mechanicrafters, and then I thought it would be really cool. I'm going to hop into spectator mode and just kind of fly around the different areas, and maybe I can do some editing to call back to some memories in different areas, just as a nice little goodbye to the world. I've reached out to Polart, so possibly I will be able to get a world download for all of you guys if you'd like to download it and just kind of experience Mechanicrafters for yourselves. I think that's it. So without further ado, I figured it would make sense for me to start off by explaining on why I'm leaving Mechanicrafters. So to start out, I figured that I would state that I'm not leaving Mechanicrafters because of some disagreement or anything like that. I know a lot of SMPs get really dramatic, and a lot of people will quit because of that and things along those lines. That's not at all the case. I think I should start out by explaining that none of us in the Mechanicrafters actually do Mechanicrafters or YouTube as a job. A lot of us do this as a hobby, or we do it during our free time, and a lot of us are working full-time like engineering jobs, or we're full-time students. And after working a 40, 50, 60-hour week, we then hop onto a game of Minecraft and record some videos, which could take an entire day to make. And hey, I'm a smaller YouTube channel that makes tutorials, and it might only take me 6 hours, which is actually a pretty short amount of time to make a video and fully record, edit, and upload it. So I figured I'd start out with that. That's one of the key reasons that I'm going to be leaving, is because I started an internship as a security intern, and I'm putting at least 40 to 50 hours in, and I didn't feel it was right for me to be a part of an SMP like this if I couldn't even guarantee on when I'd be on until about an hour prior. And that really kind of makes it so collaboration is little to none. And I would need to have people kind of always at my need and always have to be on in order for me to collaborate with anyone, which gets a lot easier, especially if you're doing YouTube full time, because you can invest that you're going to be on 9 to 5 every single day, or something like that, because that's your job. But for me, I'm recording at the most random times or during my lunch break and things like that most YouTubers or most people can't align their schedules with what I'm doing. So that's one thing. That's probably the key reason that I'm going to be leaving, is just that. And I wanted to state that this is not, I'm not going to be quitting live streaming as a whole. I plan to do live streaming in the future. There's some series ideas that I have that are going to be more single player based, that'll allow me with the freedom to be able to set up a schedule that works for me, and I don't have to entirely collaborate. And of course, this internship is temporary, and then I'll be back into college, and I will be able to make more videos and streams and structure everything a lot better. And that's where I think I can go back into more of a collaborative series with some other YouTubers, or content creators. And you might even recognize some of these people from Mechanicrafters. But for now, at least for the next month or so, I'm not going to really do many, or I'm not going to be in Mechanicrafters, but I might be doing some collaborations. For example, me and Blockus have been working a couple weeks on a completely automated potion making system that allows you to basically press a button and it can make any potion in the game. A lot of work with Redstone, a lot of issues that have come up, but we're doing collaboration opportunities like that where I can work overtime towards a video, and I can make some really quality content. But overall, the reason I'm leaving is just time-wise, and I think I can speak for a couple of the other Mechanicrafters that are leaving as well, is that we just don't have a lot of time during our days to make live streams, videos, things along those lines. So I really hope you guys understand. Please don't think that you're never going to see like Polart, you're never going to see Luya Boy, or even good old Harky. I get to say it one last time. They're definitely going to be in my videos and my streams and stuff like that in the future. It's just Mechanicrafters as a whole. We've decided to kind of dissolve it. But yeah, I think that's good enough with my reasonings. So let's fly through the world, and we can experience some memories. So I figured the best place to start would be my house, because there's many different things that have happened to this house. From the acacia buttons, when Ash went ahead and invaded my house and put acacia buttons everywhere on the side of the house, to me having to rebuild this house 3 or 4 times because I hated the design of it off camera and I kept changing something with the house, to Mr. Harkey activating an elevator and building a hidden elevator underneath of my base that connects all the way until his massive base over there, which, you know what, we might as well activate it one more time. We'll just make ourselves creative mode just to stay alive, but you can press the button and he built this hidden elevator that was in my live streams for almost like half of my live streams, and I didn't even realize. And I ended up finding it on a mistake from someone in chat, letting me know about that. That's a throwback and a half to this lovely encased fan room that has been absolutely obliterated multiple times because I couldn't figure out on how to build a little area that I could make bread with, which led to my sweet roll factory, which, speaking of, might as well head over there. Our lovely sweet roll factory, which again took several episodes for me to get this up and running, and it actually broke this morning when I logged on. So I have decided that I don't think this thing is ever going to work, but it worked for a long time, and it was a really cool sweet roll factory for the end. By the way, absolutely love the design with the cobblestone walls that are basically blowing fans on top of these guys. So cool. I figured we also should mention this blacksmith style building that we ended up working on pretty close into the beginning, that we designed it as kind of a little hut, and then I kind of revamped it again offline, where we made this little area that allowed me to basically put items on a depot that lava's blowing onto. Great for not necessarily smelting, but converting, I think it was stone to stone to stone bricks, things like that. Then we have Queen's Blacksmith. That's what it was originally called, from Miss Dark Queen, who did that crazy donations in one of the first streams. And then we have this whole automated ore processing system, which, depending on when you first started watching Mechanicrafters, this was actually an andesite generator right in the beginning that I built underneath of the ground. It looked horrible, and then I realized that in order to automate lava, it was going to be super advanced and super complicated. So then we redid all of that with Luyo and turned this into a fully functioning ore processing system, which is something that I needed since the beginning, and it looks really nice now. But it was able to also handle like diamonds and quartz and things like that. This was one of the later designs that I was able to revamp to make it look nice. And of course, we hid our little area up here with our stuck blacksmith guy. I think that's what he is. Really cool system. I was really happy once this was all set up and really clean looking. Thank you, Luyo, for that one. Then we have our hidden storage system, something that we worked on in, I think, our last live stream, which is something that, again, really needed early on in the game, and then I got really fed up and didn't feel like fooling around with. But we have a fully up and running ore processing system, or not ore processing system, storage system, minus these little chests and little entrance. But something that was really helpful once we were able to get that up and running. Figured it was also worth shouting out our villager area that we ended up building, which we had a couple villagers, which ended up making us pretty rich in XP, because we had a Silk Touch villager. I believe we had, do we have a Fortune villager? I believe, yes. And we had a Mending villager, and then of course we had a couple other villagers that were around that we had ended up trading with. Gave us unlimited XP and allowed us to get some really beast armor to go fight the Ender Dragon, which is something that was crazy to experience. Then, of course, we had that whole live stream, I think it was called Rainbow Road, where I confused everyone thinking that I was building Rainbow Road, which is not the case, where I had an unlimited amount of rainbow sheep, which is really cool. And, of course, we have our little pumpkin patch, our melon farm. I believe this is our onions and our wheat farm with our farmer that has disappeared. But he was the one that usually destroyed our crops, just like this. But yeah, that's just some memories of a lot of these designs that took some time to actually build. And I figured I couldn't leave it out. The one area where Luyu built a massive castle and we ended up fending off pillagers for the first time I've ever done in my life, with our cannons and everything. And that was where, that was where I ended up going to, I believe it was like, how many deaths did we have? Yeah, we ended up going to 10 deaths, from 1 death to 10 deaths, and that's where we lost to rage to the death count. But that was a fun battle, something that was really cool to set up, because the first stream I did was just fooling around in this area, thinking about making this an amusement park, and then the second stream turned into this absolute awesome battle, where we would dump lava and everything in this area to basically take on these enemies. It was really cool. And now that brings us to laggy spawn, which there's even still acacia buttons everywhere, like literally everywhere. I just, man, there's so much that happened here. But this was my house, which again, right in the beginning, I've started to realize as I'm recording this, every time I was like, you know what, we're gonna build this live on live stream, I then off camera get upset and then rebuild the whole thing. But this was our very first house where we actually lived with Harky, and right in the beginning, this was built out of spruce, like in the very beginning, and it was the one shelter. We were the first people to build a house in Mechanicrafters. But you can see we even got our little house, or our little sign still, Rocket 14 and good old Harky. Our little chest area that we had a little manual like ore processing system going on here, with just like a millstone, or maybe this was like a bread. I think I used this more for bread, actually, because we could mill the bread and then do that to get, to basically make some things. But, yeah, this was quite the house. It was really cool once we got this up and running. Really cool once we got the windmill moving along, which, if I remember correctly, I don't know. This actually did power everything in the system, which was really cool. So we even used it as power. It wasn't just for aesthetic. Which this whole area has changed dramatically since the beginning, from the billboards to just so much, the berry cults, to all of these other guys' houses, from ashes to blockus. Excuse the frames, but my PC is, I think, gonna light on fire. To the little shops that I believe Luyo made, to another billboard that looks like it's been absolutely destroyed, to our little mailing system that has gone up. We'll just make sure in the last chance there's nothing left, but I don't think so. Yeah. Our little mailing system with everyone, to the paint shop, the little dirt hut that happened at one point during, I think it was the second welcoming live stream. Just so much, just so cool and so much. Even little Pole Arts farm that I would rob all the time. And then it brings us to this little area, which I wonder if anyone's realizing what I'm looking at right now. But this is actually the location of where we had the second welcoming, where we brought in a bunch of new Mechanicrafters into our group, and we were able to basically have our little welcome area right here, where we all stood in a circle. Sounds really culty, but whatever. But yeah, it's been changed a little bit. I think Block has extended his base out a little bit, and then we've had a million other things happen in this area. But this is actually where we did have our second welcoming, which is pretty cool. And then I figured it was worth noting that we have our little shop area. So we have the little Tomo Seaside Bargain Shop, which was, I think, one of the first shops to open up. We have this little location, which is, I believe, where Polart was working on his boat. Or this is the bottom of his boat. I don't remember entirely anymore. But this was the area of where Polart practically killed the server on a live stream while he was riding his boat around. And then I believe that this is Mr. Harky's shop that he's got going on over here, the Weathered Limestone shop. And then we have our little rainbow shop, the Bright Side. It's such a cool name. And it was sponsored by Dark Queen, from all of the donations that were sent in. But really cool. We were able to sell a lot of books. I'm curious to see if there's anything inside of here. It looks like not, but we have so much wool and everything that we were able to sell, and we called it the Bright Side, from the song Mr. Brightside, which is so good. But was really cool, really stood out. Really simple design to make it stand out too. And I figured that this is actually the greatest place for me to end it, because this is actually where we started it all, right here. And I'm just gonna go into creative mode again, just because it'll make it easier for me. But this is the island that we started Mechanicrafters on, right in the very first live stream, where we all sat around in a circle. My live stream started late. It didn't want to start. So yeah, this is where it all began. I think I stood somewhere in kind of like this area. Of course, the sand's been a little cleared for Harkey's shop, but this was the beginning of Mechanicrafters right here, which is pretty crazy on how much has happened in all of these months. But I think that's it. I think I'm gonna end it here. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for everything. Thank you to the Mechanicrafters and the viewers and just everything, even everyone inside of that Discord that has given me a lot of memories over this time of making YouTube videos and stuff like that, because I think I started Mechanicrafters around the time of me almost hitting 1,000 subs, and now we're at 10,000, which is something else. So thank you for all of the adventures, all of the laughs. I don't know about crying. All of the moments where I wanted to kill Ash for the Acacia usage, or kill Luyo or Harkey or someone. All of those great moments. Just thank you so much to all of you guys for making this happen. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe. There's going to be more collaborations and definitely an SMP coming in the future, which will probably be a little different, but you'll be able to meet some new faces and probably recognize some old ones as well. And definitely drop a like, because this has been probably a lot of editing up until this point, if I had to guess. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys all in the next one.